Let us begin by establishing the fundamental truth of your existence. In the study of spiritual law, we must first clear away the cobwebs of mortal limitation. You may not remember the exact moment of your physical birth into this world. Your human mind, bound by the calendar and the clock, tells you that your life began on a specific date, perhaps in a quiet hospital room surrounded by white artificial light and the hurried, anxious voices of doctors and nurses. But the absolute truth, the spiritual reality of your being, is that you have been in a state of continuous, glorious unfolding for 14 billion years. Your true first breath was not drawn in a sterile room. Your first breath was the silent, majestic explosion of a colossal star that, unable to bear the immense weight of its own density, collapsed in the dark eons ago, scattering its radiant insides across the infinite void. Hold your hands out in front of you. Look at them closely, not with the eyes of mundane habit, but with the awakened vision of spirit. Notice the intricate, unique map of lines that cross your palms. Observe the living texture of your skin, the subtle, rhythmic pulse of life, the very energy of the divine, thumping just beneath your wrists. We are taught to think of the body as mere matter, but there is no dead matter in a spiritual universe. That carbon that forms the microscopic architecture of your cells, that calcium that provides the sturdy pillar of your bones, that iron that tints your lifeblood ruby red and leaves a metallic, salty trace when you happen to bite your lip, every single atom of that was forged in the boiling, incandescent crucibles of ancient suns. Great cosmic bodies had to burn fiercely and exhaust themselves so that you could be here today, sitting exactly where you are, breathing, doubting yourself, wondering if you sent that email or not, or wondering if the person you love is thinking of you at this very moment. You are spiritual substance, forged in the stars, made manifest in the physical realm. And so, infinite intelligence, in its infinite complexity and desire for self-expression, organized itself. The divine mind willed matter to join, to mutate, to crawl out of the primordial, sun-baked oceans. Through the grand, unfolding process of divine order, what biologists might call trial and error, but what we know as the deliberate out-picturing of spirit, it assembled nerves, expanding lungs, sensitive fingertips, vibrating vocal cords, and seeing eyes. It formed you. You are the conscious lens through which the Creator beholds His own creation. You are the ingenious way the cosmos found to finally reach out and touch the rough, damp bark of an oak tree after a heavy storm. You are the living eyes the universe opened to finally admire the breathtaking beauty of its own sunsets. You are the great reality experiencing itself in individualized, human form. Consider yesterday. You were perhaps walking down a busy city street. You felt the winter cold soaking through the fabric of your coat. You inhaled the dense, industrial smell of wet asphalt after a shower. You heard the deafening, chaotic noise of traffic, and you watched the rush of hurried people dodging puddles with their eyes downcast, locked in their own mortal thoughts. To the unawakened mind, it might seem like a trivial, utterly mundane scene, an ordinary day in a gray city that merely exhausts you. But lift your consciousness higher. Think about the truth of that moment. You are the universe experiencing water falling upon itself. You are stellar matter feeling the heavy weight of human routine, the rush of the clock, the sharp bite of the cold on the tip of your nose. Every single time you taste a piece of warm, crusty bread, every time you bury your face in the neck of the person you deeply love and breathe in their familiar, comforting scent, it is the omnipresence itself saying, so this is what this feels like. But the divine mind did not just want to experience the physical friction of matter against matter. It desired, with a profound cosmic yearning, to understand the abstract. It wanted to know the very essence of beauty in a tangible way, and so it inspired the invention of music. Think of that specific song that gives you goosebumps, those perfect chords that compel you to close your eyes and completely lose track of where you are in time and space. They are not just physical sound waves hitting your eardrum in a mechanical process. That is the cosmos finding a spectacular way to move itself deeply. It is the infinite vibrating at the exact, precise frequency of your personal nostalgia and joy. We brought forth languages, we invented words, we spun glorious poetry, all because the absolute, vast silence of outer space was simply not enough to articulate or explain the staggering immensity of the spirit we carry inside our chests. You are the voice of the cosmos, speaking its own magnificent truth into existence. Let us turn our attention to the more challenging aspects of our earthly demonstration. For we must recognize that the outpicturing of spirit upon this physical plane is not entirely composed of soft poetry and golden light. You know this truth intimately in your own daily experience. There are times when the mortal condition hurts, and it hurts profoundly. There are days when your chest tightens with a deep, inexplicable anguish that seems absolutely bottomless and invisible, crushing weight of mortal thought that seeks to paralyze you and keep you from rising from your bed. You have undoubtedly cried out in moments of righteous anger or deep despair. You have felt your human heart break into 1,000 fragmented pieces over disappointment and loss. You have felt the chilling reality of how physical death, or the sudden absence of someone you love dearly, leaves a cold, black, gaping hole right in the center of your living room. And in those dark hours, you have likely wondered many times why, if we are indeed the magnificent stardust of the divine mind made manifest, the heavy burden of human pain weighs so heavily upon our fragile shoulders. The metaphysical answer to this persistent human question is raw, devastating to the ego, yet ultimately beautiful in its spiritual logic. The infinite mind, in order to fully realize its own boundless nature, also needed to know what it meant to break. Without the stark contrast of your human sadness, the cosmos would possess no true understanding of the depth of melancholy. Without your mortal fear of the dark and the unknown, the magnificent spiritual quality of bravery could never be called into existence. All of that pain you carry within you, that restless anxiety that whispers fearfully in your ear during the quiet hours of the dawn, is not a factory defect in your spiritual design. You are not fundamentally broken, nor have you failed in your spiritual application. Rather, this friction is the necessary price of admission to be fully alive upon this earthly school. It is the vital, required resistance that allows you to cultivate a love with a force so powerful that it defies the very entropy of the physical galaxies. The infinite universe is meticulously learning the tender lessons of fragility, vulnerability, and resilience directly through your personal wounds. Consider the quiet, solitary moments of your life. You wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, prompted by a sudden physical need to drink a glass of water. The house is completely wrapped in a heavy, peaceful silence. The refrigerator hums slightly, a low vibration in the corner of the dark kitchen. You feel the sharp cold of the floorboards under your bare feet. You raise the glass, you drink the cool water, and you feel it traveling down your throat, instantly quenching your physical thirst and hydrating the billions of microscopic cells within your vehicle. In that exact solitary and seemingly irrelevant instant, the entire magnificent miracle of existence is taking place right where you stand. It is you, an individualized piece of the universal spirit that has become self-conscious, nourishing its temporary, physical body with the very water that was once frozen in a massive, ancient glacier. That very same water was once torrential rain pouring over a prehistoric, untamed jungle. It was once swirling vapor in the violent, chaotic creation of this planetary sphere. You see, there is not a single ordinary moment in your entire life. The concept of the ordinary is simply the lie the mortal mind tells itself, so that it does not become utterly overwhelmed by the daily majesty and the sheer miracle of continuous creation. As we grow from childhood, we fall asleep to our true nature and lie trapped in the grand illusion of separation. You firmly and erroneously believe that the barrier of your physical skin is the definitive wall where you end and where the rest of the vast world begins. We are entirely convinced by the physical senses that we are isolated entities sitting in here, looking out at a separate universe out there. But spiritual understanding reveals that this is merely a survival trick of the primitive mortal mind, a necessary delusion for navigating the three-dimensional world. The truth of being is entirely different. When you are commuting and you look at a complete stranger sitting across from you on the subway, when you observe that tired, burdened person resting their heavy forehead against the smudged glass of the window, wearing headphones to drown out the noise, and staring blankly into the middle distance, you must realize you are not looking at an other. You are looking directly at yourself, experiencing the magnificent play of life from an entirely different angle. It is the very same spirit, but clothed in different memories, carrying different mortal traumas, shaped by a different childhood, and fighting entirely different earthly battles while wearing the elaborate disguise of another skin. We are all the exact same immensity, the same infinite intelligence, peering out through the different, varied windows of the exact same spiritual house. The one who loves deeply the one who hurts profoundly, the one who laughs with abandon, the one who forgives past wrongs. We are all the very same infinite, boundless ocean, choosing to believe for a little while that we are completely separate, isolated waves.